bonjour, and once again, welcome back to Minus You. This week, my episode is mostly geared towards my single ladies or ladies that are entering into a new relationship. We are on week 17, yes, week 17, with You Cheated, I Understand. This episode comes from a conversation that I had with Nicholas regarding all these new girls that he was seeing and their response to his choices. And their response, which basically entirely shocked, angered, saddened me, and was honestly really laughable as well. So, let's go ahead and get to it. So here's the backstory. Nicholas and I are on the phone. He is talking to me about these new girls, and he has had quite a few even when he was talking about getting back together with me. That alone was just a red flag for sure. If you are serious about possibly making things work with someone that you've been with for a long time, and I mean marriage for a long time, but you're shopping on Tinder, like, come on, Madelyn. Girl, like, please, what are you doing? Anyways, I asked Nicholas what these new girls, or his new girlfriend at the time, like whoever she was, or whoever she is, I mean, it's not the same one, that's for sure, but I asked Nicholas if he had really told this girl he was seeing at that time what he had done. And he said yes. And then responded with asking if I had told the person that I was seeing all the terrible things that I had done. So rather than acknowledging the tough conversation, he's pointing the finger back at me. And I told him yes. I was like, in fact, all my mistakes and all my stupid choices are going to live on the internet now. He said that he told his new lady that he had intended to be cheating during our engagement, but he gave this big list of excuses why he did. And those excuses were his self-esteem, that I wasn't having enough sex with him, that he didn't feel valued, all leading to these physical intimacy requirements that I was just not good enough to fill. So I asked him what her response was. And Nicholas said, well, she understands. She understood? What? Girl, the man you are seeing right now, not even at this point when I wrote this episode and he was talking about this was 2 months after we had split up. The man that you are seeing right now was cheating on his fiance not even 2-3 months ago. Do you hear any remorse from this man? Loss or regret? No. All you get are cowardly excuses. Now, after this phone call, I was completely beside myself. So there's this new girl who was with my Nicholas, which frankly, he wasn't even mine. When we were even together, if you think about it. And she's allowing Nicholas to get away with this. This behavior is all cool to her. She doesn't respond with wow, that's horrible, or you probably shouldn't have done that to your future wife, or that's a red flag. I hope you're, protect yourself, girl. What this man is telling you, you want that to happen to you? Because obviously with the way you're responding, that's a thumbs up for you, girl. So no, none of this. She's just I understand. I understand and accept that you cheated on your fiance, less than 2 months ago, and have taken no time to mourn this, and have just moved right back into online sex shopping, those 3 years is just some distant dream. Plus, this guy has excuses. Excuses for being unfaithful during an engagement, during wedding planning, as I'm buying my fucking wedding dress. This girl is really on board for this, and all the girls after and before were on board for this. It made me feel completely invalidated as a woman who had really suffered, that another woman who could suffer the same fate for herself did not see this as a massive, and I mean huge, screaming red flag. So you've heard my anger, so let me just stop for a moment and, talk about the facts. I'm a cheater as well. I kissed my neighbor when I was with Nicholas before we moved to Florida. I am guilty of making a terrible choice that hurt my relationship and that hurt my boyfriend at the time. Nicholas is guilty of making a terrible choice that hurt his relationship and that hurt who was going to be his future wife. Cheating is cheating. But for a woman who is going into a new relationship, especially with a man who just had his fiance leave 2 months ago, for her to be like all on board with this and think that within 2 months, a man who had his relationship and his future marriage end due to his infidelity has had time to heal, learn, forgive himself, forgive his previous partner for her mistakes, learn to make better choices, realize his mistakes, self-reflection, all of the above. Like, bitch, you crazy. Like, what are you thinking? This situation has really left me in awe and in sadness. So there are women out there that blatantly ignore red flags every damn day. You are putting yourself directly in harm's way, directly in the line of fire. Women, for some sad reason, and maybe probably some men too, maybe it's just instinct or something, but especially for women, we think that we are the answer to a man's problems. I am so guilty of this. We think that we can fix them or change their bad habits. So this new girl that was in Nicholas's life at that time thought that she probably thought that she was this magical answer to Nicholas's infidelity to his future wife. So, girl, whichever one he's on right now, girl, let me tell you something. He did not change for his future wife. His woman of almost 3 years. His fiance. So what the hell makes you think that he's going to change up his soul and his habits for you? This sounds mean, but it's kind of the harsh truth. Not that this changes your value as a woman at all, but I'm saying, like, if he didn't change for the woman that he got down on his knee for to marry, and you've known him for what, a month and a half? Girl, I don't know what you're thinking. Time and time again, we ask people to change and to stop bad habits, to grow with one another. Direct examples of my experience. And you know what I got when I asked that? 2 middle fingers from my ex-fiance in his office. All cheating is wrong, destructive, and most commonly relationship ending. It is hurtful and it's horrible. Nicholas and I are both, let me say that again, we are both guilty of making these choices, but at different stages of our relationship. I kissed someone else while Nicholas was my boyfriend, and Nicholas was shopping for sex during our engagement and our wedding planning. While we are both wrong, I personally feel that Nicholas led me to leave for 2 reasons. 1, this was being that his family gave no remorseful feedback to their son. And 2, I came to realize, and this was later, that Nicholas was not sorry for what he had done. He was sorry for 2 reasons. 1, that he got caught. And 2, the one that had been cheated on had become the cheater. Let me say that again. The one who had been cheated on had become the cheater. The victim became the perpetrator. If I think back to him sitting on that couch with my wedding dress in his lap, because I threw it at him I didn't yell at him. I was just like, dude, this is what you're throwing away. Like, what have you done? And I remember the look on his face and in his eyes. He never, begged for forgiveness. Or, really, genuinely was like, let's do this. Let's go to counseling. I love you. I am so sorry. No, he just kind of, sat there silently. He just kind of sat there in shame and, guilt that he had gotten caught because, like I said, the victim had become the perpetrator. I came across a photo of his Tinder account after I found out what was happening. His profile photo was from the photo shoot that I had actually paid for on our 1-year anniversary trip to Hawaii. His bio said, his little description underneath his photo said, just a finance guy making his way in the world, looking for a good time, winky face emoji. It's either a winky face or a tongue emoji. He even filled out his preferences and his hobbies, like basketball and stand-up comedy. My fiance put time into that. This was not a slip up. This wasn't like a, oops, I had a moment of bad judgment. This was an every morning as he would get ready for work, he would swipe and chat with women, looking to get some action and some praise for his 9 to 5 or his 8 to 5. He would walk past my wedding dress that sat in our closet every morning while he would re-download that app to go sex shopping online as I slept in bed. I still have the photo of this, and I refuse to get rid of it, because it showed me that no matter how much we think we know someone, you can still be blindsided faster than you ever knew you could. I lost my imaginary world, or whatever you want to call it, in a fucking instant. I still remember taking off my engagement ring after seeing Nicholas's Tinder emails in the trash folder in his Gmail account. It is a silent blur in my mind. So why do I give you this story? Why do I tell you this? You know, I'm sure Nicholas, as a side note, Nicholas probably has his own story of how he found out that I had kissed my neighbor. So as much as I share my hurt and my, my sadness over this, Nicholas probably has a very sad story for when he found out that I kissed my neighbor. And actually, he didn't know that we had just kissed. He thought that we had actually, been physically intimate. So that's probably a whole other thing that was probably very, very hard for him. Because again, what I did was very wrong. And this episode is from my perspective, and he will have his own regarding the hurt that he experienced from my wrong choice. So why do I give this story, though, overall? I give you this story, my perspective, my story, to protect single women out there. I also share it to lay out the pain that I have carried with me. Like I said in my introduction, this is not an I Hate Men podcast. But in this episode, I want you to know that people, men and women alike, whatever you identify as, can absolutely make a choice like this. And if you have met someone who has made a choice like this, I'm going to urge you to proceed with caution for your own sake. And that could be said for Nicholas, that could be said for me, that could be said for anybody else in the world that you meet. Love is blinding. Love is insanity, and sometimes it's the absence of logic. Love is beautiful. Love brings life, and sometimes love kills. I do not believe in once a cheater, always a cheater. I do not believe, at least I don't want to believe, and I probably don't. I don't believe that Nicholas is a cheater through and through. And I do not believe that I am a cheater through and through. But I do believe in actions and change and consistent progress. I saw my process over time as things ended with Nicholas. I saw myself in mourning, pain, loss, remorse, regret, self-reflection, counseling, healing, growth, change. What I heard from Nicholas is that he had someone in his bed within 2 weeks after I left the state. Mind you, the woman that he had been, secretly seeing for months. In the bed that I bought him. Yeah, that pissed me off. For those of you shopping for your spouse, for your life partner, please tread carefully and listen as well as see the signs. This episode by no means is saying that people can't change, or that one mistake forever ruins someone. Again, Nicholas is not ruined forever. It's not saying that Nicholas can never change. It's not saying that I can never change, or that my mistake ruins me forever. Because again, remember, we are both guilty of a wrong choice like this. But this episode is for us to guard ourselves in potentially harmful situations. People do not change overnight. I'll tell you this, I did not begin to heal and change overnight. This episode was written in June on the 13th, and on May 13th, the month before that, I was in a harder and sadder place than I was than on June 13th. And I know for damn sure, September 8th, when this episode drops, I will feel far different and healed in a different way. Hear words and see actions. I'll say this again. Hear the words and see the actions. If you meet someone who has just ended a relationship due to infidelity, just recently, please, please guard your heart. If you're looking for a real relationship, if you're just looking to jump into bed, go for it. That's probably why the relationship ended. So, but please see the actions if you're looking for something real. But don't entirely give up on someone who has great potential, but if he's trying to get you into bed after his relationship just ended, girl, take a second and turn your heart off and your brain on. Guys, this goes for you too. If she just ended a relationship because of infidelity, but she's like looking for a new relationship right off the bat because of her infidelity, I can guarantee that she is not a loyal and good woman. But if he or she just ended a relationship but is looking for companionship and looking to start a new chapter in life and learning to love and heal, that's not entirely a bad thing. You just may need to take things a little bit slower. So, what does the transaction look like between this new relationship if we're speaking off of this again? Is it finding love again? Or is it finding a body? Guard yourself. Guard your heart. And guard your potentially beautiful relationship with this person or with someone else. Trust time. Now, I know this sounds really silly and stupid, but trust time and trust timing. The person you have just met, who may come from some really tough stuff and made some wrong choices, may be an amazing partner for you, or they may not be. But you will not know that unless you, one, please guard your heart and guard yourself, but over time. Time does not defeat the facts, though, and the mistakes, the hurt, the difficulty, and the growth that hopefully, because you can't be healthy, will hopefully happen from the past. I will see you next week for episode 18, which is Words, Their New Power. I will be talking a lot about how words and what they mean to me and how they mean so much, yet so little at the same time now, due to where I come from. Until next week, adios.